The Zephyron Empire had conquered 47 star systems in less than 3 centuries. Their warships, sleek obsidian vessels that bent light around their hulls, had reduced entire civilizations to ash and memory. Admiral Krath stood on the bridge of the Dominion's Fist, his flagship, watching the blue marble of Earth rotate peacefully before him. It looked vulnerable, defenseless, almost pitiful. "Primitive," he muttered, his 3 eyes narrowing in disdain. "Survey reports confirm they've barely achieved rudimentary space flight. No orbital defense platforms, no energy shields, nothing." His second-in-command, Commander Vesh, tilted her head in agreement. "The humans have been transmitting peace messages since we entered their system, Admiral. They claim they wish to negotiate." Krath's mandibles clicked in what passed for Zephyron laughter. Negotiate? With what leverage? Their entire species couldn't power a single one of our destroyers. He turned to face his crew. "Prepare the bombardment cannons. We'll give them one final chance to surrender unconditionally. If they refuse, we commence planetary cleansing." The transmission came through moments later. A human appeared on the viewscreen, an older male with graying hair and weary eyes. He wore a simple blue suit, nothing like the ornate armor of conquered species leaders who had begged for mercy before him. "This is Secretary General Chen of the United Earth Coalition," the human said, his voice steady despite the armada of death looming over his planet. "We have received your demands. Before we respond, I must deliver a warning." Krath leaned forward, intrigued by the audacity. "A warning? You're in no position to warn anyone human." Chen's expression didn't change. "Admiral Krath of the Zephyron Empire, humanity has existed on this planet for hundreds of thousands of years. We have survived ice ages, plagues, world wars, and our own worst impulses. We did not reach this point by being naive about violence." He paused, letting his words settle. "Withdraw your fleet now. This is your only warning. If you fire upon Earth, we will destroy you." The bridge erupted in clicking laughter. Even Vesh couldn't suppress her amusement. Krath wiped a viscous tear from his eye. "Destroy us? With what? Your chemical rockets? Your nuclear toys? I've scanned your entire planet. You have no weapons capable of harming even our smallest scout ship." "That's because you're looking for the wrong things," Chen replied quietly. "Humanity's greatest weapons were never meant for space. They were meant for survival. Retreat, Admiral, please." Krath's amusement evaporated. "You waste my time with empty threats. You have 10 of your minutes to begin evacuation of your major cities. After that, we will demonstrate why resistance is futile." He severed the connection. Commander Vesh approached cautiously. "Admiral, their confidence seems unusual for a species in their position. Perhaps we should." "Should what?" Krath snapped. "Run from a species that still uses combustion engines. Deploy all ships into bombardment formation. Target their population centers. We'll break their spirit quickly." The Zephyron Armada moved with practiced precision. 300 warships, each capable of cracking a planet's crust, descended into Earth's atmosphere. Krath had done this 47 times before. He knew the pattern: shock, then panic, then the inevitable pleas for mercy. He almost felt bored. Then the sky began to change. "Admiral," the sensor officer called out, confusion evident in his voice. "I'm detecting massive energy buildups across the planet's surface. Thousands of them. No, tens of thousands." "Weapon systems?" Krath demanded. "Unknown. They're not matching any known technology in our database. The signatures are biological." Before Krath could process this information, the first strike hit. It wasn't a missile or a laser. A massive pulse of electromagnetic energy erupted from somewhere in the Australian desert, invisible to the naked eye but devastating to the Dominion's Fist systems. Every electronic system on the ship screamed in protest as circuits fried and backup systems failed. The lights went dark. Life support stuttered. "What was that?" Krath roared, gripping his command chair as the ship lurched. "Electromagnetic pulse, but the magnitude is impossible. No civilization should be able to. The sensor officer's voice cut off as another pulse hit, this one from North America. Through the viewport, Krath watched in horror as ship after ship in his armada went dark, their sleek hulls becoming nothing more than coffins drifting in Earth's atmosphere. But humanity wasn't finished. The oceans began to glow. Massive installations hidden beneath thousands of feet of water activated simultaneously. Humanity had spent decades developing them in secret, camouflaged against orbital detection by the very water that covered 70% of their planet. Now, directed energy weapons of unprecedented power lanced upward, slicing through Zephron shields like they were paper. The Crimson Destroyer exploded first, a ball of fire that briefly became a second sun over the Pacific Ocean, then the Void Reaper over the Atlantic, then dozens more, lighting up the sky in a cascading display of destruction. Evasive maneuvers, Krath screamed, but it was too late. His ship's engines were dead. They were falling. Another transmission forced its way through the dying systems. Secretary General Chen appeared again, but this time he wasn't alone. Behind him stood military officers from every nation on Earth, unified in grim determination. "I told you to leave, Admiral," Chen said, his voice heavy with regret. Humanity learned long ago that sometimes peace requires the capacity for overwhelming violence. What you mistook for primitive technology was actually restraint. We've had these weapons for 30 years, buried deep where your scans couldn't find them. We just hoped we'd never have to use them. Krath's mandibles trembled. Impossible. No species develops weapons they don't deploy. It's inefficient, wasteful. "It's called deterrence," Chen interrupted. "Something your empire apparently never learned. We didn't want to be conquerors. We wanted to be left alone, but we're not fools and we're certainly not defenseless." The Dominion's fist was in free fall now, its hull heating as it plummeted toward the Atlantic. Around them, what remained of the Zephron Armada tried desperately to escape Earth's gravity well, but humanity's weapons tracked them with merciless precision. Kinetic bombardment systems launched 1,000-ton tungsten rods from orbital platforms that had been mistaken for weather satellites. Quantum entanglement communications ensured no ship could flee faster than Earth's weapons could target them. Commander Vesh, bleeding from a head wound, stumbled to Krath's side. "Admiral, we must abandon ship. We might survive if—" "There is no survival," Krath whispered, watching his empire's greatest armada torn apart by a species they dismissed as primitives. "We've been outplayed by creatures who reached space less than a century ago." In the final moments before the Dominion's fist broke apart, Krath understood the terrible truth. Humanity hadn't been defenseless. They'd been patient, watching the stars, preparing for the day when something would find them. They'd built their weapons in darkness and silence, hopping never to use them but ready when the moment came. The last thing Admiral Krath saw before the ocean claimed him was Earth, still rotating peacefully, its blue oceans and green continents unchanged. Humanity had defended their home without even leaving the surface. Across the galaxy, the destruction of the Zephron Empire's entire armada sent shockwaves through civilized space. The species that had terrorized 47 systems had been annihilated in less than an hour by a world that hadn't even colonized its own moon. In the aftermath, Secretary General Chen addressed not just Earth but the galaxy, knowing the message would eventually reach other civilizations. "Humanity desires peace. We always have. But let this serve as a lesson to any who would threaten our home. We are not weak. We are not helpless. We simply chose to build defenses instead of weapons of conquest. We chose patience over aggression. But make no mistake, we will survive. We always have." The message was received. And humanity, the species from the little blue planet, was never underestimated again.